Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at Bitcoin and the Bitcoin related stocks. So as you can see here, over the weekend Bitcoin did give back a little bit of its gains. It's down 2.6% since yesterday, but it is at $5,677 right now. As you can see, for the week it was up 23%, which was a huge week. It ended up breaking out here and busting above 5,000 on the 12th, and then it just continued really strong into the close on Friday. It pushed here on Saturday, but it's giving back some of the gains on Sunday. But the bottom line is Bitcoin broke above 5,000, and that's signaling more upside potential. And so the Bitcoin stocks took a while to heat up, but they're back in play. And what we'd like to look at here first is GBTC. This has not been participating like the other Bitcoin related stocks. It looks like the premium has now been is working back into the share price. This was ahead of Bitcoin, and now with the pullback and the failure to run here with Bitcoin breaking above 5,000, it's actually it appears that it's been reset, and so it hasn't really been participating like the other Bitcoin stocks. And so it had a nice bounce on Thursday, and then it gave back the gains on Friday. As you can see, it closed just slightly down on Friday. And what's going down on this chart is it's trying to break the middle Bollinger Band at 691 and the 50-day simple moving average at 697. So those are the two big levels to close above. If there's a close above the 50-day simple moving average next week at 697, that should signal more upside potential. That should be the signal that it wants to head higher. As you can see, there is high close horizontal resistance here that it needs to break. If it can get above this 745 zone, okay, that'll be the next level to break after this 697 level. If it can get above 745, then it can really get moving. And so the Bollinger Bands are super tight. Look how wide the Bollinger Bands were. This is the upper Bollinger Band, this is the lower Bollinger Band, and they fully tightened. And now the chart is wound tight, and it's either going to break out higher above the 50-day simple moving average, or it could break down. And if it breaks down below this lower Bollinger Band and the horizontal support here from the closing price on the 11th, that would put the 100-day simple moving average at 559 on deck. So downside risk, if it fails to break resistance, is a drop back down to this 100-day simple moving average. Upside potential is a run up to 745, break above 745, and then it's back off to the races. So keep an eye on GBTC. If you look here on MACD, so notice how it's been pinched. So we want to see this black line cross above the blue purple line here, the signal line, the MACD line cross above the signal line. Notice how it's pinched down here on the 8, 13, and 5. A crossover will be a signal the chart's heating up. Notice there was a parabolic SAR bullish flip on the 9th. So that was a signal the chart was heating up. Notice that a possible change in trend. Notice how the dots were above the candles as the share price pulled back. And so now the dots have flipped back below. That's signaling a possible start of a new uptrend. You want to see a bullish crossover here on ADX with plus DI crossing minus DI to the upside. And then for FASTO and RSI, you've got FASTO at 52. You want to see RSI get above 50 and stay above 50. So if you look here at the GBTC cloud chart, this chart shows the Ichimoku cloud, and so what's happening here is it's hitting this green cloud support. Notice this green cloud here, and so it dropped below briefly on the 10th or the 11th, and then it got back above. So it's in the support zone. What's happening is we've got the conversion line, the blue conversion line, and then the red baseline. And so they've been crossing back over, and so what bulls want to see, they want to see that conversion line, the blue line above the red line. There was a crossover on Friday, so you want to see that start pushing higher. It is heading down right now. You want to see the blue line start heading higher above the red line, similar to back here. Notice when the blue line crossed the red line to the upside, that signaled the start of the uptrend, and then you had the bearish crossover when the share price pulled back. And so now we want to see it cross back, it's crossed back over, but we want to see that blue line hook up and then have the candle start riding that higher and break back through the top of this cloud. If it drops down below the cloud and the cloud turns into resistance, that could signal more downside pressure. Okay, so let's take a look at BTCS. Okay, this stock made a really nice move back on Thursday. As you could see here, it busted above the 50-day simple moving average, which is the green line at 15, and then it ran all the way up towards 18. On Friday, it made a huge run up above to 23, but then it pulled back. It formed this, pretty much an inverted hammer shooting. It's not a shooting star, but it's pretty much an inverted hammer. It has a small upper wick, or lower wick here. So it's not considered a hammer, but it basically is. It's the same type of action. The bulls were strong early in the day, but the bears were able to drive it all the way back down. What happened is there was a gap between high of day on Friday and low of day on Thursday, and that gap did come back and fill. Notice there's a space on the chart here, so the candles may work back into the bands. What you want to see is that 50-day simple moving average and EMA 4 at 15 hold. That would be the most bullish. If it breaks below, then you could see this gap down here filled. Notice there is a gap down here between 10 and 11, between the high of day on the 11th and low of day on the 12th. So that is a target if it drops below the 50-day simple moving average. If the candles keep riding, EMAs 4 and 8 support higher above the 50-day simple moving average, the uptrend should continue, and it should continue pushing north. If you look here, we've got RSI at 63, so it's not at overbought levels. Fasto corrected, it's all the way down at 54, and then you've got a nice breakout on ADX, and you've got a plus, you got ADX, that bull crossed minus DI, and then you've got the nice move on MACD on both time frames. Okay, so let's look at BTCS weekly chart. Okay, so the weekly chart is really heating up. Okay, notice that the candles are riding above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-week moving average, so it has a nice uptrend going on the weekly chart. It ran up here, like I said, to 23, and it pulled back. What it did is it hit the close for the first week of August, and so that's going to be the next key level to break. If it can close above that, then you've got the closing price in the second week of August, just about 25 cents, and then that's the huge level. Get above that level, and then you're talking about the second week of November back on deck of 2016. Notice the big volume. The volume is the clue here. That's the signal that this wants to head higher. As long as the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-week simple moving average are holding, currently at 11.55, then BTCS longer-term swing trade uptrend is still intact. If it closes below both levels, that will be the signal that there's downside risk and it could possibly consolidate. So keep an eye on BTCS. If you look here at this daily chart, yeah, let's see. Okay. Yeah, let's look at, okay, this is BTSC, excuse me there, and BTSC is Bitcoin Services, and so what we want to see on this chart is we want to see RSI back above 50, notice it's at 48, Fasto did correct, so now there's more juice, it was at overbought levels, it was above 80, and now it's down at 58, notice that there's a crossover here on ADX, the green line crossed the black line and the red line to the upside. What you want to see now is the green line stay above the red and black line, and then you want to see the black line cross the red line to the upside, with the black line and green line both heading higher while the red line's heading down. That would be a signal the bulls are clearly in control. And so this, once again, we had this really nice move on the Bitcoin stocks on Thursday when there was that break above 5,000. We had this nice breakout on these stocks, and you could see here there was a close on Thursday above the middle Bollinger Band, currently at 0.068. That's the dotted purple line. That's the key level to hold. Notice there was also a break above this descending resistance line. So this was a major resistance line, and it closed above two key levels. Now the pullback on Friday, it was able to hold the middle Bollinger Band. That is key. As long as the middle Bollinger Band holds, then this new uptrend should continue. If there's a drop below and these EMAs 4, 8, and 13, which have all converged, break, that would signal downside risk. Notice EMA 4 did cross EMA 8 to the upside. That's an early reversal signal. The big levels to break are the 50 and 100-day simple moving average at 0.078 and 0.080. A close above both levels is going to be our signal that it wants to head higher. It would have to turn those levels into support. You've got the bullish crossovers down here on MACD on both time frames. You've got the good volume, and then you've got the PSAR bull flip on on Thursday. And just so you know, we timed this bounce before it happened, just because we were all over these plays in our chat, and we had been going over these for the week before they bounced. We had been tracking them, and so we were all over it when they finally moved. We had pointed out this this multiple bottom had support had broke, and then we were looking for a bounce off of this July support level, and it bounced perfect off that level. So congrats to everybody in the chat. You guys got the low entry point. As we all know, it pays to be in the chat. Okay, so check out MGTI. Okay, MGTI is heating up. You know, I think this chart, it just has that look to it, like it wants to pop and move higher. We'll see if it can do it. It's got the really tight Bollinger Bands here. Look at the upper Bollinger Band and the lower Bollinger Band have both, they're converging with the candles forming in between both levels. So when that happens, there's one of two things can happen. There's either a breakout higher or a breakout lower. So a busting through the upper Bollinger Band at 290 signals a breakout higher, and then also a break above the high close resistance here from the first October 2nd, and then from back here in September 27th. If it can close above both of those levels and bust through the upper Bollinger Band, that's going to signal it wants to head higher. Then you're looking at the closing price back here on September 6th. You know, it could make a run back up into the fours. Now to the downside, notice how this green line's been holding. This is the 50-day simple moving average currently at 242. It bounced right off of that level in September, and then it bounced right off that level again this week. And so that has been the huge level. Okay, so what we got is we have an ascending triangle pattern forming. We have ascending support and horizontal resistance. So if there's a break above horizontal resistance, that signals it wants to head higher. If there's a break below ascending support, that signals downside risk, and then you'd be talking about a potential drop down to the 100-day simple moving average at 175. So keep in mind that MGTI is claiming that they're the largest Bitcoin miners in the United States. Now that's McAfee is the one saying that, and he's made public statements to that, to claiming that. I have no idea if he is correct or not, but you know, if Bitcoin keeps going up in price and they're the big miners, you've got to think eventually the share price is going to follow. Also keep in mind that McAfee has his own cryptocurrency coin going in China, so I recommend you Googling that. Look up McAfee crypto coin, and then I believe it's separate from MGTI. You might want to do some homework on it, but you know, you could see a correlation between you know, between that heating up and the MGTI. I'm not sure though. Just check it out. There's a lot going on here. You know, we're going to see if we can get a crossover here on MACD on both time frames, and so that would be a signal the chart's heating up. If you get a bearish crossover on a bearish flip on PSAR, if those dots flip above the candles, that would signal downside risk. Okay, so take a look at the MGTI weekly chart. And so this has been filling the jar. We call it filling jar back to July 2016 resistance. It did hit that level it back here in August. So that was the high, and then it pulled back and it corrected. It came down. It hit the 300-week moving average at 207, bounced right off of that level. It bounced off of EMA 13 at 222, and then notice how it's been holding EMA 8, and it's been trying to turn EMA 4 into support, currently at 253 and 242. And so what we want to see now is we want to see those levels hold, and then a break back up here to the high close resistance level. That's going to be the closing price on this last run. That's going to be the big level just below 320, and so you're going to want to see a close above that level, and then that would put that July high close back in the fours on deck. So this has got a really good uptrend going. I mean, since the middle Bollinger Band broke back here in May, the candles have not closed below that level. There's been some consolidation, but each time EMA 13 holds and it pushes higher. So this has been a really good long-term swing trade since down here in the 40 to 50 cent range, you know, down to the bottom. If you got in between 40 and 60 cents, you were just killing it right now if you're a long-term trader. And if this gets back back above this 420 level, then that would signal it wants to break out higher. So keep an eye on it. If it drops down and it breaks below EMA 13, that would be your big red flag, because there hasn't been a close below that level since back here in May of 2017. And so if that happens, then you've got the 300 week moving average on deck. That's the huge support level. Drop below that would be very bearish. And then as long as the middle Bollinger Band holding the uptrends intact, but if the middle Bollinger Band currently at 180 was to break, that would be a signal that the chart's broken and that you could see downside risk. Similar to back here, notice that the candles consolidated back here in 2016, similar to the consolidation here, and instead of breaking higher, the share price broke down, and when it dropped below the middle Bollinger Band, notice that signaled the big pullback. And so that's what we're looking at for here. We want to see a bullish change in trend from 2016. We don't want to see, the bulls do not want to see this breakdown again. Instead of that, that pattern, we want to see the breakout higher. This cycle has been complete. The share price ran up here into the fours. It dropped down to the 40-50 cent range, and then it ran all the way back up again. It filled the jar, and so now it's ready to either make a new pattern or that's what we're looking for now, is a possible new pattern. As you can see, this looks like a big jar, and it could be forming a cup over here. If you took the high and then you form a cup, it could come down. So this is the new neckline right here. So that 420, 430 level, the closing price here in July of 2016, that's like basically that's the huge level. Close above it, that signals more upside potential. Okay, sorry, I went a little too long on that play. Try to speed it up here. GAHC. Okay, this was did really well. We timed this one in the chat like nobody's business. We nailed this thing. We got the alert out that it was going to bounce off of this 300-day simple moving average, and the alert did only go out into the chat and onto the website. But congrats to everyone. It came down here. I put out alerts that 0.01 was the reload zone, and that level held like a champ, and then it ran all the way back up here and hit 0.025. So that's the potential 150% gain off of the call on Tuesday to get those ones, and so bottom line is that it pays to be in the chat. Okay, so that's the big thing. You got to be in there to get the alerts, and so it ran all the way up here. Now what we're looking for is a close above the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages. 0.022 is the big level to break. If we can get a close above this gold line this week, that's going to signal it wants to break out higher, and then we could be talking about up here at this 375 high close level. Keep in mind that if it fails to break the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages, that would signal consolidation, and you can see the share price pull back, and it needs to hold this middle Bollinger Band currently at 14.5, and then the 200-day simple moving average at 14.5 as well. This is the crucial support level. It has to stay above both levels to keep this new uptrend going. If it closes back below, that would signal downside risk and consolidation. Okay, so take a look at BITCF. Okay, this is First Bitcoin Capital. This actually did have a nice move. It bucked the trend. It was kind of odd. It followed through nicely on Friday. This has, it has a following. Even though a lot of people are unable to trade the stock, it keeps, putting itself back in play. So, I'll give you updates on it. You want to see RSI get above 48. Fasto is below 80. You're looking for a bullish, if you're a bull, you want to see a bullish crossover here. Okay, so that's good that the black line crossed the red line to the upside. And then what happened on this chart is there was a bullish reversal pattern that formed on the 12th, and then there was confirmation on Friday, and so there was a close above the middle Bollinger Band, currently at 616, and so you want to see that dotted purple line turn into support. It needs to close above the 100-day simple moving average. If you see it close above 70 on Monday, that's going to signal it wants to head higher, and then we'll be talking about a potential run up to dollar land and the 50-day simple moving average. That is the next target if it can go above 70. So between 70 and $1 is a trade if it can close above that line. If it fails to close back above, then you're looking at, notice there's a little gap down here between high of day on Thursday and low of day of Friday. Friday. A drop down here to around 46 would fill the gap, so that is the downside risk. It needs to turn that middle Bollinger Band into support to start a new uptrend. Notice the volume spike on Friday. So big volume. We'll see if this can get going. Last time it bounced down here. It broke above the 100-day simple moving average and it ran to the 50-day simple moving average. So there's a very good chance it could repeat that process again. It will need to turn the 50-day simple moving average in order to break out higher. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, please check us out in our chat. Check us out. Come check it out. I think you'll learn a lot. I know you will. Come hear some of the testimonies of people in our chat recently. It's pretty wild how well everybody's doing. Okay, so thank you very much. Enjoy your. I'm glad you checked out this video, and thanks for watching the videos on the MyChartCoach.com YouTube channel as well. Thank you.